Welcome, everybody, to Discussing Depression with Casey Moran. I am Casey Moran, and the last episode I had was Brian McDaniel. Great guy, one of my best friends in comedy. Worked with him at TMZ. He's a really, really, really good dude, and just happy to have him on. I'm sounding off right now while doing these episodes because I am off. This is one of the worst episodes I think I've ever had, and it's probably, if you listen to this podcast, you've heard that before, but it's like I gotta push myself to record these episodes. I gotta, because this helps me. This podcast is something that's really, really helped me. Whether you're listening and you're like, I don't know who you are, so I don't really care. I get that. But it's helped other people too, which is like, it's awesome to hear. Other people have come up to me and said this has helped them. So it's like, why wouldn't I do this? You know, I'm all about, you know, I need to show how great, you know, show my gratefulness a little more than I do. So I'm going to continue to do these, because this is the best thing I've ever done. It might not be the most, you know, I'm not the most talented for sure. I've done a lot of radio shows in my day and I'm not good at it, but I'm having fun, you know, getting really cool guests on. And this guest that I have is a huge one for me. Just like Brian was, because he's been he's a great comedian and he's done so much for the LA community, of not just comedy, but he's just a really good dude. I mean, everybody that knows him, you know, he's got like, you know, the best, reputation, I think, in comedy, on the LA scene. In terms of like, you know, the Comedy Store, he's like the nicest guy at the Comedy Store and everybody loves him. I've hung out with him a little bit there and people come up to him and just talk to him for a long time. He's just really just overall, just a good dude. I do want to apologize for the guest is Earl Skakel. It's one of my favorites. And I didn't, the audio is going to sound, you know, maybe not great because I'm calling him. And you know, and even if he called me, it's the same thing, but phoners, I'm doing them over the phone. It's just easier. I'm in Simi Valley. I don't want people to come out here. And I hope that it sounds okay. So I'm going to give him a call. I did that on Brian's episode. That was kind of fun to do a little phoner. So, we're going to give one of my favorite people in the world, Earl Skakel, who was on Comedy Central Roast Battle season 1. He he was an underdog and he got to the finals. He third overall. He's one of the best, and I'm so excited to have him on. So we're gonna give him a call, and we're just gonna talk life. You know, he's got a great podcast called Inappropriate Earl that I listen to all the time, and I was fortunate enough to be a guest on there. I think I was probably the worst guest of all time. I'm gonna ask him that, and we're gonna go off of you know, just like he does, where he doesn't prepare, he just goes into a conversation. So I'm going to talk to him. So we're going to give him a call right now. See if he answers. This is the best part of podcasts, where you're just waiting. It's a riveting radio right here. Radio podcast.
What's up?
Earl.
What's going on, dude?
Hey, thanks for being on, man.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Dude, this is huge. I just gave an intro. I think it's pretty good. I talked about, you know, how nice of a guy you are, and you've been so supportive to me, and it means a lot. And I also talked about, you know, just I usually prepare for him, but I'm gonna go Inappropriate Earl, and we're just gonna have a conversation.
Yeah, that's the best way to wing it.
Yeah, it's just more organic that way, I think.
I think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think with radio, it makes more sense to be more structured. But with podcasts, you kind of just have to go with it because it you know, I guess the ultimate goal is to have, you know, the person that's listening feel like they're part of the conversation, you know?
Absolutely.
And I listen to your podcast religiously. I'm a huge fan of it. And I was just saying, that I was honored enough to be a guest on it. And I think it's the worst episode of Inappropriate Earl of all time. Would you agree?
No, it's not. I won't say which one is. It's far from it.
Well, I felt, I don't know. I felt like I just talked and rambled the whole time and I didn't know, I was just so nervous to be there, but it was just an honor to be on it for sure.
But that's what you want. Like, you want your guests to ramble and just talk a lot. Anyone listening, they already know my stories. I've heard them all a bunch, so they want you to ramble and whatnot.
Yeah, I guess so. It was fun, and it was an honor to be on it. But like,
To have you on.
oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it was fun. And honestly, I just want to thank you for just being a friend, and every time I'm struggling and just being here right now and putting podcasts together when I really just want to isolate and do nothing, is something I just need to push myself to do. Just get up and just try to do stuff. And, I got a lot of questions for you, but one is, if the people that don't know Earl, you are in amazing shape, and you've always been, from what I don't know, I don't think anybody really realizes how important it is to like take care of your body. Have you always done that?
Yeah. It's like, for lack of a better word, it's like working out is my Prozac. So it's how I get through my mental issues.
Right.
Go to the gym, go for long walks, go on hikes, take yoga. If you just sit in your house, think about whatever's bothering you, you'll literally go insane.
Right. You told me the other day, you said you're a 48-year-old man, but you have the body of a 22-year-old, which I thought was awesome.
Well, I mean, for the most part, depends what the 22-year-old looks like, but, I've never had a drug or drink in my life, so I've got, like, the insides of a person in their early 20s,
Right. Were you ever tempted, because you love music and you were always at concerts and all that, you were never tempted to drink or do drugs?
Never, not once. It's like I've never stuck my hand in a fire pit to know I wouldn't like it. So
Right.
I never felt the need to, do any of it. I'm certainly around it a lot. I've never been tempted. So I've never really been susceptible to peer pressure. Pretty strong-willed mentally in some areas of my life. So I think it's once you develop a habit, it's pretty easy to break it, and that's good and bad.
Right.
Depending on what your habit is.
Yeah, that's true. I think. Well, did you see what alcohol and drugs were doing to people around you, and you were just like, this isn't for me?
Not really. I mean, I certainly most of my friends were doing drugs and drinking, and some family members. It just wasn't for me. I have to. The smell of alcohol is disgusting to me.
Yeah.
So I can't imagine what the taste of it would be like. And, cigarettes just disgusting. And I mean, I don't necessarily mind being around marijuana just because it doesn't smell horrible. But I've never been tempted to do it.
Right. That's so good, man. I never got into like heavy drugs weed a little bit, but I never got into it. I tried it a couple times and it wasn't for me. And I drank more than I ever should. I mean, I don't drink anymore, but, I should have never, because when you're diagnosed with something as bad as not as bad, but as, I don't know, something as just, I don't know the word to use here, but depression, the clinical depression, major depressive disorder, all these things, I should have never even had a drink. I wish I would have went your route, because I'm not taking care of my body at all right now. I'm probably the heaviest I've ever been, and I'm eating like crap, and I just really need to just start, like you said before, just get outside and, take that fresh air in and just try to, appreciate things more, because I'm just not doing that right now.
Yeah, it'll definitely help. After this interview, I'm going to walk to the Grove. I can drive there, but it's nice. Probably 3 or 4 mile walk, both ways. So it's, nice 8-mile hike. And, just get out, get the fresh air, and make a jokes, and walk walk around the Grove for a while, and stuff I have to do since I don't take pills, or even when I had my knee surgery, the torn ACL, I took maybe 1 or 2 pain pills they gave me, but it didn't really help. So,
Right.
I do things naturally.
Did you, because you still play hockey, and that's insane. Like, is it just because you have to be on this schedule because this is what works for you that you just can't get away from that stuff?
Well, I play hockey mainly to, like, really the only non-comedy thing I do. So I love being away from the business, and, the league I play in Garden Grove, which is a little suburb of Orange County. There's not one actor that plays out there. There's no one comic or musician. So there's no industry talk. It's just I'm around people who work at Walmart, who have night jobs, graveyard jobs, Sam's Club, and so it's great just to be around normal people for a few hours. That helps. That helps my mood.
Yeah.
You go to the comedy store, hang out with those Palmers. It'll rot your brain.
Yeah. I love when you say that.
You don't know who's being nice to you just because, they're being nice to you, or they think they, maybe I can help get them on roast battle, or maybe I can help introduce them to, agents and managers I know. So it's like your guard's up constantly. But, when I'm playing hockey, this person's talking to me because they just like me.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I'll only correct this, and I mean, you do play hockey with 2 guys that I know that I worked with at TVG, the DeCoy-Coys. Brian and I think Aaron.
Really in the industry.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, they're certainly very successful TV executives in the horse racing field.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
They don't need my help to get an agent or a manager. They certainly don't want to get on roast battle. Although Brian DeCoy-Coy would be pretty good at it.
You think so?
Yeah, he knows his weaknesses and strengths.
Yeah.
Have to battle at roast battle.
Yeah.
So, but other than those 2 guys, it's just regular people that I need to be around regular people every now and then. Otherwise, I'm just around actresses, comics, actors, musicians, and your guard's always up with these people.
Right. No, that's a good point. It's really smart to kind of just kind of distance yourself away from certain people, or not that they're all negative or anything like that, but you need to have a balance of your life. And you've always, since I've known you, you've always had this. You're able to manage your time really well. Have you always been able to do that?
Yeah, I'm a Virgo, so I'm very anal and structured, and only in that way, anyway. It's how I have to live my life. Although my stand-up is a little more free-flowing improv, if you will. I'm structured. I get up, I try to write 5 jokes a day, so I try and do that first. I'll go to the gym, I'll go to the cryogenic chamber place. Maybe I'll go to the gym after that too, and then start my comedy night, and then repeat the next day.
And it's just it's just the same thing every day.
Pretty much, but I don't mind that. I only do things that make me happy. So.
But it's very productive. You're being very productive on what you do.
For the most part. Weekends I might be a little lazier than normal, but that's how I live my life now. If it doesn't make me happy, I don't do it. And if I'm not happy around a particular person, I cut them out of my life. I love it.
That's really smart to do. Is that something did that take you a while to do?
It just makes yourself happier. Why be around negative people? Why be around negative things? If you don't get a lot of love at a particular comedy club, don't go there.
Right.
It's sad. I've never really been treated that nicely by, say, the Laugh Factory, so I don't go up there. so there's no negativity because I don't allow myself to be in that negative space or place.
Which is weird because I don't know how anybody wouldn't like you. You are one of the most genuine and nicest people in all of comedy, I would imagine, and especially LA and the Comedy Store. But the Comedy Store has a dark vibe to it for the most part, and in a good way, because I'm obsessed with like the history of comedy, and the Comedy Store is like the place that I always wanted to be. And a lot of people feel that way, I think. And I mean, obviously, it's killing it right now. But you've been there for years.
Comedy Store's the best spot on earth. It's like last night, I had a spot. It was sold out on a Wednesday night. The lineups are great. It's like a family there. There, the Comedy Store weeds out the people who don't belong there pretty easily. So, that's why I think I like it so much there. It's as close to the vibe I get playing hockey in the sense that, there's not a lot of people who are allowed to loiter up there who are negative. Like, everyone's a family up there, and if you don't fit in, you're basically told to beat it. So,
it wasn't always like that, though, right? I mean, I want to say, just from listening to podcasts, because I'm a podcast nerd, from like listening to like guys like Danish and O'Neill and those type of guys, they said like it was a different vibe like 10 years ago. It was a complete, like they would have negative people around all the time.
Yeah, there was no industry there, so like the comics were bummed out because you're performing in front of maybe 8 people every night. The lineups weren't very good because a lot of the guys like Rogan and Joey Diaz and Tom Rhodes and all the Ron White, they would avoid the place because of the talent coordinator not showing them love. And people like Rob Schneider would like laugh at the thought of going there. And now all those names I mentioned are up there, and others,
right.
Chris Rock, who wouldn't go up there the last couple of years, and now he's up there. And Chappelle comes in, and Jeff Ross comes in, and David Tell comes in, and even the unknown comics like me and others, they're going to be good. So like, there's no spot on the lineup that's going to be bad.
Right.
Even like, the other night I went on. At 1 in the morning, and then I brought up Jake Wiseman, who's amazing.
Oh, I love Jake.
He's the best. Like, if everyone could be like him in LA comedy, it'd be a lot easier to navigate. But that's the type of comedy you're seeing at 1 a.m. Even someone like Jake Wiseman. Last night I brought up Candace Thompson at 12:30. So it's I love the Comedy Store. It's been very good to me, and the Improv's great too. The Improv's awesome club, but. There's just something magical about the Comedy Store. I think just the way it's built, it's like an ant farm of horny people and comics. It's like there's 3 rooms, there's a back bar that, a lot of people don't know about, so you can go in there, and then there's, the little outdoor patio where people hang and, loiter around, and, then you've got, probably the hottest show in LA for 3 years running, Roast Battle, and that's a good vibe. Everyone loves that show, and so it's a positive place, but it definitely has a negative history.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about it a lot on your show, and I don't want to, I know you can talk about that show ad nauseum for sure, but, is that something? We don't need to go into details or anything like that, because that's not my style, and it's definitely not yours. I'm the same way. I don't want to name names unless they're here to defend it on certain things. But like, do you think that got to a point in your life, like, that you were doing something for 3 years and you were like, I just need to step away because it's not bringing me as much positivity as it once was?
I like roasting, I think, now more than I like doing the weekly hating thing.
Right.
roast people I like. A limited number of people in that regard that I'll roast. Because otherwise, if you're roasting someone you don't like, you're just, it's just two people shitting on each other.
Right.
Which, that goes back to I'm only going to do things that make me happy. But I love roast battle. I love hating every week. It's just, there's some people I don't enjoy seeing up there, and I had to remove myself from the situation.
Yeah, and I think that might just be for now. I mean, that doesn't mean that it's always going to happen. Like, you might, like you said before, never say never, and who knows?
Yeah, I never say never, and I think I left the show in a relatively good way with Moses and Jeff. The show's done a lot for me. It's done everything for me, really. So I didn't want to burn bridges with those guys or Comedy Central or. But also, I think the show needs to maybe see what I bring to the table, and it's not here anymore.
Right.
So there's that too. But it's the best show on earth. It's helped. I've never seen a show that's literally helped probably 100 comics get gigs, writing gigs, TV gigs, and billboard exposure, get on commercials, and for me to get on Comedy Central 4 nights and 5 days, and after 14 years of nothing, I'm very loyal to the show. So, and then, I've gotten back together with girlfriends I never thought I'd get back together with. So I never say never.
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. And I think unlike some people, just in not just in general, you are one of the most grateful people I know. Like you really do see everything that something like Roast Battle or a Comedy Store or other things that you've done. You've seen how much it's done for you, and you are very fair where you give back to a lot of people and things, and you've been really good to the show Roast Battle and to everybody. That I was a fan of you before I met you, and you couldn't have been nicer. So you're one of those people to everyone, which I think.
My parents, more specifically my mom, raised me in maybe an abnormal way, but it's basically like we all shit out of the same hole.
Right.
So, I'm no better than you. Russell Peters is no better than me, and I'm no better than an unknown open micer, who no one knows about, and so on and so on. So, and it pays to be gracious, because you're always gonna have to think of what's coming next. So, and I see it. I don't know what this has to do with depression, but I see it. With some roast battle comics where the show's really popular right now, but no show lasts forever. So you're going to have to think of your next move, and when you don't have roast battle to walk through the Comedy Store hallways with anymore, people are going to go, "Oh, that's that asshole from roast battle."
Right.
So I think some people don't think long term. Maybe if I was nicer to people, I'd be further along in my career and life. It's just the way you should be. You should be nice to everyone. You shouldn't be nice to people because of what you can get from them.
Right.
We're all the same.
It's all about that's absolutely. I think it has to do with depression in the sense that I think people don't realize the impact they have on other people, positive or negative. I think and I can only talk for myself, but when I get in these rock bottom spots, I'm hurting so many people because I'm not either responding to messages or, and they're worried about me because I'm to the point where suicide's on my mind a lot and all that. And the last thing I want to do is hurt any family member. And, so I'm doing my best to get out of that space and, try to surround myself with more positivity and do that. And I know we kind of got off topic a little bit, but have you, I think especially in, it's like if you're a comic and you say you have depression, it's such a common thing. It's like I think the majority of comedians have some type of, mental illness they're fighting. Was it anything that you were diagnosed with, whether it's depression or, anxiety or something like that, you felt that maybe, you got along with more comedians because of it?
I mean, I've never been diagnosed with, I'm a relatively smart guy, so I can figure out I have a mild form of anxiety, and, the closest I've ever come to taking drugs was maybe the last couple months, maybe taking an edible or something before roast battle, because it's such a high pressure show to get laughs on. It's the live atmosphere, and when Moses or whoever goes to me, it's like, okay, I'll be funny now. I don't have the luxury of going, well, tell me, give me a line, Jeff or Moses, and 5 minutes later I'll have something for you. The pressure to be funny is like instant.
Right.
The last couple of years, maybe some romantic problems have put me in maybe a semi-obsessive state of sadness at times, but I get through it.
And have you always been, we talked about working out and, just, have you always ate healthy also? Because you've talked to me about that before too.
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I used to have the occasional Big Mac or whatever, but I work out so much that I can get away with eating anything, just because, I could have fries every day and probably not have it affect me, because I work out to make me happy. So I'm lucky in that regard. But I think because my insides are so clean that my metabolism's pretty good. So genetics, lucky in that sense. But I would definitely say I have a mild form of depression at times.
Is that like, yeah, but the good thing about you is you're always able to stay on a schedule, and that's important for anybody that's listening to, it's so easy to isolate and get in your own head and not, be productive and then just be, and that's going to lead to worse things where, it's hard on a comedy schedule to go to bed at the same time, wake up and get done what you needed to get done. But it's just, I'm just so impressed with how you handle yourself as a man and how able to do as much as you do, not just for yourself, but for so many other people. And it just means, I don't know, it just means so much that you've been such a good friend to me and to so many people. It's just awesome.
Well, you're a great guy, so there's no reason to treat you any differently. That's how I treat everyone. I treat homeless open micers at the store to, Russell Peters. I literally talk to everyone the same. But that's really, I owe my parents that, because they instilled that into me. Like my dad, when he would, my dad was friends with billionaires and golf caddies. He would treat the caddies as nice as he would his billionaire friends. So,
oh, wow.
I learned that from him, and just always be gracious and humble for my mom. So they were strange parents, but they were effective.
Right, I love that.
I learned a lot from them, how to act towards other people.
It shows, man. And one thing I definitely want to ask is, because it's caused me a lot of problems in my life of being a nice guy. Because I get stepped on and all that. Like, how are you able to, because you are such a nice guy, but has that ever caused you problems? Like, just being that nice person?
Oh, for sure. People see, especially in the entertainment business, they see niceness as a sign of weakness. And, they will step on you, and it's like, recently I've had some interactions with certain people where, let's just say, I had to step up to the plate and kind of call them out on their bullshit. And, so I eliminate those people from my life, whereas before I would have just tolerated it kind of let them linger. But I don't do that anymore. It's like, I mean, maybe it's getting a little older and whatnot, but now if I don't like you, you know it. And there's very few people I don't like. But
yeah, it's weird to me that there's anybody that you don't like, because you are. I mean, you'd really have to cross you for you not to like them, because it's like
absolutely. So like one particular person, they have crossed me, and good luck to them in the world of comedy.
Right. Which is it's just I can't believe that anybody. I don't know. I mean,
they're
it's
just not a good person without getting into who they are.
Sure, absolutely.
But they did something that not only affected me but another person, and even taking myself out of the equation, what they did to the other person was very weak and kind of bullyish, because it wasn't true. They let's just say they threw something out into the universe that wasn't true.
Right.
So, that's they're in my crosshairs now, and once someone is in my crosshairs, they don't leave, which is a bad, in full disclosure. That's probably my biggest weakness, or my biggest drawback in my personality is I hold grudges. It's not good to hold grudges, but in this particular case, I'm glad that this person sweats it out a little bit.
Yeah, it's just weird that anybody it's just I don't hold grudges, but it's only because I'm weak and I just forgive people. I wish I had the ability to hold a grudge. I do.
No, I mean, I don't think you're weak. I just think that you're nice. So it's not being nice isn't a weakness, but it can be perceived as a weakness. And I think thankfully the roast battles helped toughen me up.
Oh wow.
Because it's it's obviously you're hearing some pretty mean things said about you, and you have to kind of take it with a smile.
Right. And not just from the person you're roasting, but from the judges and
the judges, the crowd, the hater, what I do.
Yeah.
The wave, bring up roast battle a lot because it's kind of germane to this part of depression or being too nice is like roast battle will toughen you up because you're someone's doing a joke about your ex-girlfriend. The ex-girlfriend might be in the room. So you kind of have to put on a smile because if you lose it, you're gonna, it's not a good venue to lose it. So you have to kind of put on your happy face, and so it's toughened me up in that regard.
Yeah, no, I think I did it once, and I don't think I could do it again. It was I worked hard on it, and it didn't go well. I mean, I won, but it was just I didn't feel it wasn't a good battle. It was, and that's okay. I wanted to try it once, and I was okay with not to not go back to it. I'm okay with to not.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for everyone,
right?
But I mean, I think it's toughened me up to, it's leathered my skin a little bit to be able to take body blows more, but it's also made me more, okay, I don't like you, I don't like this situation you put me in, so you're out.
Right.
Good luck up here at the Comedy Store and wherever else we have to interact, because in this particular situation, I'm 1,000 times more liked than this person, so you picked the wrong guy to cross.
Yeah, it's just the fact that anybody has it just baffles me, because anybody that knows you or even knows of you just through other podcasts or comedy channel, whatever it might be, says nothing or thinks nothing but great things about you, because you are so supportive and just a good, it's just, but you know what, at the end of the day, it's I don't know what that person might be going through, and it's you just kind of, you move on. I guess, you know, you just have to kind of like, whatever. It's their loss to not have someone like you in their life as a friend and a supporter and a mentor if, you know, if they're lucky enough to have you, you know?
Oh, absolutely. So, but, you know, outside of this one particular person, there's not too many people I have to avoid in life. I mean, I think when my car rolls up into the Comedy Store parking lot, people are happy to see me, and that's what I love. And, you know, so I try and model what I saw my dad do, and my dad only went to like 3 or 4 places where he was treated like a king, and that's what I try and do. You know?
Oh, that's cool.
It takes me to my happy space.
Yeah. One other thing I'll say about Roast Battle is like the fact that nothing is off limits was like really hard, you know, because but you know, I watched the show before, so I knew what I was in for. But like I watched one battle. I think it was Nicole Buchanan, and she, you know, they reference, I don't know exactly who it was actually, but they referenced like a suicide attempt, and it was like right after, and I couldn't believe that, but it was Nothing Is Off Limits, and whoever it was, I could be wrong on who it was, but they like were able.
It might have been Tom Goss. I know,
oh yeah, it could have been. It could have been Tom Goss.
Issues in that area. And Tom's like an amazing guy. So
super great guy. Yeah.
You know, but like you in that regard, like when you sign up for Roast Battle, you sign up for everything. Like, you know, I know with me, you know, people are going to joke about my family. They're going to joke about, you know, maybe my last couple girlfriends. You know, especially the last one, because you know she's very prominent on the show, and like, you know, we were like a known couple or whatever up at the Comedy Store. So
right.
I don't like hearing jokes about that, but you know,
you sign up for it. You're right.
Yeah, you're asking for it. You know, you want the rewards of Roast Battle. You gotta take the take the bad, not bad, but you gotta take the you gotta take everything that comes with it, not just the good things.
Right. No, that's that. You're right. That's great advice. A couple more questions if you don't mind, and then.
Not at all. I got all the time.
Oh, you're the best, man. You know, we kind of talked about, you know, just how important working out is, eating healthy, and then sticking on a schedule of just, you know, figuring out what you got to do every day and just kind of, you know, doing it. But like what you said really kind of, it helped a lot of just getting outside every day if you can. If you can't, you know, go to the gym, it's one thing, but just get outside and just work out, you know, not, you know, even if it's at the park or wherever it is, and just, you know, because it's really important for your mind and your body to just not isolate and stick into that situation. And when you go through something, you know, you've gone through so much, and yet, you know, you always find ways to get outside and get some fresh air and do that. Was there ever a time that you felt that all you wanted to do was just sit inside the house, or did you just always have to push yourself?
Every day. You know, it's like right now, I don't really want to walk to the Grove and 3 or 4 miles, and then 3 or 4 miles back, but I'm going to do it. You know, you just force yourself to do it. At least I do. Like, I read a lot of, or I listen to a lot of audio books, you know, Tony Robbins and all those guys. And even though Danish and O'Neill said listening to Tony Robbins is the last stop to failure. But, you know, I would say I'm to a degree weak mentally, so I enjoy the pick-me-up that those books give me. And, you know, so that's how I do it. I want to stay in every day. I don't like working out. I don't like doing yoga. It's hard. You know, yoga is really hard for me. I'm not very flexible. And, you know, I'm pretty much a beginner. I've only been doing yoga for like 2 months, so I'm in a room full of like 30 people who've been doing it for 10 years. And, like, the littlest things that are hard for me, they do, like, in their sleep.
Right.
But I force myself to try and every now and then get out of my comfort zone, which I think helps for depression or not feeling great mentally at times. If you do something that you're not really good at, but you still do it, and your mind gives you a little like thumbs up for at least trying. So like I'll try and take not a dance class, but something I'm not good at to just stimulate the cells in your brain of trying something new and being around new people and not being afraid to embarrass yourself, which is once again kind of like what got me into really liking roast battle, because I'm the furthest thing from like a mean shit talker, like going up to I don't know, Tom Goss doing a suicide joke. It's not only my sense of humor, but I tried it once and then I was hooked. So same thing with yoga and other things that I do now that maybe a year ago I probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's awesome that you're you kind of have to get, like you said, get out of your comfort zone and just expand your horizons in a lot of ways. And you've been able to do that, which is cool. You get to meet new people. And it really does help your life. And with like, something, well, the good thing about what you do with Roast Battle is, which I love, is it's really not you, because you do like a wrestling persona and you're a big wrestling fan. I grew up a wrestling fan. It's really cool to see, for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I love, some might say it's cheating how I do Roast Battle, because when you're up there, when I'm up there, I'm not really Earl. I'm basically doing a Rick Rude impression. For those who don't know who Rick Rude was, he was a bad guy, and he was so cartoonish and being bad that I kind of liked him. So that's how I kind of do it.
There's no rules of Roast Battle, though. That's the good thing, There's the.
I mean, I think there should be. I think one rule I would like to see implemented is the joke has to be true and factual. Of course, not everyone believes that, but we'll leave that at that.
Sure. I feel like it would be so much work, like to research everything to make sure it's true. I don't know if anybody would do that for free.
Really. I mean, it's like if I'm doing a joke about you and I throw out, I don't know, like if you have a girlfriend and you and I are battling each other, and you do a joke about, say, well, Earl has a small dick, and I was like, well, ask Casey's girlfriend, she begs to differ. The whole room is going to think I slept with your girlfriend.
Yeah, that's true.
But it's true, though. The whole room would be like, oh, wow, Earl had sex with Casey's girlfriend. And then after the show, I'm guessing the first thing you would do is go up to your girlfriend and go, did you sleep with Earl? And there's always going to be that. And she's going to say, no, of course, it didn't happen. But you're not probably going to believe her right away, and it can cause problems.
Right. Oh, that's a good point.
That's I mean, and I know this isn't a Roast Battle podcast, but like, that's the one rule I would like to see implemented. Just, you can say anything you want. You can talk about Earl being 48, talk about Earl, the age difference between Earl and his last girlfriend. You can talk about Earl's parents dying 2 months apart, but you can't say Earl is, gay, because it's not true.
Right. Oh, yeah, I like that idea. I mean,
you can't really enforce it because, a lot of best moments in Roast Battle are spur of the moment lines, and, can't, I mean, the problem on this subject is once a line is out there, it's out there. Perception is reality in the Roast Battle world. So something is said, it's just, Earl said it, it must be true.
Right.
So, that's the only thing that I would like to see put in place. But I don't think it's something that's going to happen. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, here's the thing about, this podcast, I was really good at it at one point of just like having a structure and not necessarily like saying everything I'm gonna say, but just kind of having an idea. And lately, like I love you've said this multiple times, and you said, well, the good thing and the bad thing about having a podcast is that everyone can have one, and I'm like a perfect example of that. I'm not good at this right now, but I'm just having.
I disagree. I mean, you're asking me questions, you're letting me talk. I mean, that's like what you want is. I mean, maybe Joe Rogan was. I don't know what Joe's take on this is, but to me, it's like because he's got the #1 podcast, so he'd probably be much better to ask than me. But like, you want to ask a question and let your guests talk a lot. Because people already know you. Like, anyone that's listening to your podcast is friends with you, or they know you through stand up and whatnot. So, but like your friends may not necessarily know me.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
It's like anyone I have on my podcast, like you. My fans or whatever didn't necessarily know you, so I tried to ask you a question and let you talk for 5 minutes. And people go, "Oh, that Casey guy's pretty cool. Where's his podcast?" I mean, that's ideally how it should work.
Yeah, I feel like that didn't happen. I feel like they were like, that was the worst podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just being a comic at this point.
I think I did one. I think what may have hurt them, I'm not perfect. I think I released one like the next day. I forget.
Oh yeah, you had that. Well, because you had to though. It was the debate. It was the Hillary and.
Right.
So you had to.
That took some numbers away from you because it's. But your numbers picked up for sure. It got over 1,000 downloads. So which for me is my average about. Unless it's like a celebrity. But for like a comic and whatnot, it did as well as any of the other episodes.
Well, now I feel a lot better. Thanks, Earl. Seriously.
That's true, though. I'm not just bullshitting you. It's like, as well as any other of the comedy recent stand-ups I've had on, or people from Roast Battle.
I think a guy like Frank Castillo probably blew up because he, you got him right at the time he won it. So it's like,
yeah. You gotta try and strike while the iron's hot. Try and if something big happens to someone in the comedy world, I try and get them on right away. So, that show's fresh in people's minds.
I love that.
I'm trying to be a better podcaster. You can always be better. Like, as funny as my stand-up is right now, I can always be better.
Yeah, no, you're you're right. I gotta work on it. I haven't done it in a little bit, and I was like, I need to reach out to some people and just start recording and just see what happens and just have fun with it. Cause it even though I don't get those numbers that you have or obviously, Rogan or, I would love to even have half your numbers. I haven't looked at my numbers lately, but they're not great. A couple of them are pretty good. But I think
it's a whole promotion game.
Yeah.
Post on SoundCloud and then put the link on Facebook and Instagram. You put the link on Instagram and send out a tweet. And you just got to hit it from all angles. Like I've learned a lot about promoting and doing it right. I've seen certain people. I'll ask, hey, can you put out a link when I send it to you? And certain people do. I think it was really good. Like Johnny Stewart, I recently had on.
I love that.
Oh, he's great. But like I said, hey, can you send the link out? And like within an hour, he posted on his Facebook, his Twitter, his Instagram. But no, he's not on Twitter. He's banned from Twitter. Like, Samir Suri is another one. Real super funny gay comic. Like he sent out the link to my podcast before I even sent him the link to his individual episode. So.
Oh, that's cool. He's I met him. He's really cool.
Oh, he's great. But and then one comic who has like 100,000 followers I had on. I said, dude, if you send out one tweet, even if like 1% of your fan base listens, that's 10,000 listens or whatever. It's 1,000 listens. I guess 1%. I had to beg him to do it, and he still never did it.
Oh.
Like you know, getting the podcast is really marketed.
Yeah, and I've had
numbers up because there's so many of them out here. I mean, there's thousands, or literally thousands of podcasts. Maybe 100,000 podcasts because it's not. You don't need that much to do it. Like you need 2 mics and a recorder.
Right, and then I mean, you pay a subscription thing, but it's not expensive.
Yeah, I mean, I think SoundCloud. I'm on the SoundCloud Premium, whatever it is, and I think it's like $130 a year, but it's worth it. And mine downloads directly to iTunes, so it's like a 2-for-1 deal for me. And I know there's like Stitcher and stuff like that. But, you're doing it right, dude. I mean, I'm 172 episodes in, and I'm just figuring out the ins and outs of the podcasting world. Rogan, I think, is at like 900 episodes.
Right.
So, like,
Marin is even beyond that, I think.
Yeah, Marin's like it. But, Marin, I read his book, I don't know if it was his first manager, but his manager at the time was basically like, don't do a podcast, there's no money in it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And now that's probably his living at this point, is based on his podcast.
Now he's like, not only making a living strictly off the podcast, but he probably gets gigs because, from the podcast.
Right. I mean, my thing on this one is all I want to do is just help people with mental illness. So it's like, if I can just make people's, commute a little better or whatever it is, just by realizing they're not alone. That I'm trying, I don't get just comics. I get other people on, just like you do. You get a plethora of guests on, and I try to do that too. And I've had.
It's harder for me because I make people come to my house.
Oh, yeah.
So I lose out on a lot of interviews.
Do you not want to do phone ones like this?
I just love doing, I like looking into someone's eyes, asking them a question.
Right. And you won't travel to go?
Not really. I mean, the drummer from Alice Cooper is like such a nice guy. He's like, dude, let's Skype. And I'm like, I can't really do that. He's like, let's do a phone and I'll talk to you for hours. I'm like, I don't do that. He's like, but I live in Phoenix. I'm like, well, just the next time you're in LA, if you got an hour, that's all it takes.
Oh, that's, you stuck to that though, which is great.
I just like the face-to-face vibe. Like when I got my favorite singer of all time, Stephen Pearcy from Rat, took me 4 months to get him to convince him to come to my house. But then he loved it.
He's doing another one, isn't he?
Yeah, he's really busy right now, so his Rat is kind of reuniting, so they're doing that.
Are you going to open up for him? I feel like you'd be great at that.
I don't think comedy and music are good mix. So,
really? Yeah, some comics have done it.
I just think that music fans want to hear music. They don't want to hear someone doing jokes right before Rat or Kiss or whoever comes on. They want Kiss.
Yeah, that's a good point. I know I've heard like Craig Gass and Jay Okerson talk about opening up for bands before, and sometimes it goes well and sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, and I'm trying getting back to only doing things that make me happy. Like, I've never really had a positive experience opening up for bands, so at this point in my stand-up life, trying to eliminate rowdy gigs if I can avoid them.
Right. Good for you. I will ask one more question and then I will let you go. I thank you so much for doing this, man. It means a lot. Do you have any advice for somebody that might be, either dealing with depression or any other mental illness, or even having, a friend that's dealing with somebody that might have something that, whether it's diagnosed or not, it's not important. Just dealing with it, because you are somebody that I go to for advice and you give great advice. Is there anything that you didn't already talk about that you might want to express a little bit?
Just always pick up the phone and talk to someone. There's always someone to talk to. My recent lady friend experience, I was in and out of depression mode, and I would just pick up the phone and talk to someone who would know both of us, and so I could just get that off my chest. And you got a lot of friends who you talk to, and nothing's ever bad enough to kill yourself for. There's always an out. If it's a bottomless pit you live in, and it seems like it can't get better, it can. You just have to surround yourself with people you trust and that are positive, and cut out the negative stuff. And I curtailed my intake of caffeine significantly, and that was probably making me anxious and a little over-aggressive, and that helps. So you got to eliminate the bad things in your life, whether they be people, places, or things. If you go to a bar every night and it's not doing your life well, don't go to the bar anymore. You'll be happy.
Right.
If you have negative people in your life, cut them out. It helps.
That's huge, because sometimes I think I can be the negative person, and I feel like I can't blame anybody for cutting me out, because then it's like, then that just gives me more of a reason to try to be more positive, you know?
You just got to take the first step, and the second step's easier. And if people are depressed about your job or a girl or whatever, there's always someone you can talk to. There's tons of online, even though Danish and O'Neill don't like them, but audiobooks will get you back in the game. You go on YouTube and literally 100,000 videos on any subject, whether it be depression or girl problems or career problems. All kinds of help out there for you, but you got to ask for it.
I love that. No, I think I've heard people kind of say where, the good thing about what I've gone through is that I've been open about it for, 14 years now. So it's like, that's kind of unheard of, I guess, to just be, as a guy, to be open about these emotional things and what's going on. But now I just need to, I need to take that advice, as well as, hopefully other people listening will, because that's great, man. Thank you so much. Before I let you go, can you please promote your podcast, shows, and all that? Because I would, you need to see Earl do stand-up, and his podcast is amazing, Inappropriate Earl, and please support him in any way you can.
Yeah, it's just Inappropriate Earl on SoundCloud and iTunes, and it's talk about all kinds of things. Of course, it's Roast Battle heavy, just of my association with the show, and I have 80s rockers on when I can get them, and comics where we just talk stand-up, and then Twitter and Instagram, I'm just at Earl Skakel, that's EarlSkakel. I'm on Facebook too, but I think I'm at the limit. But at the Comedy Store several times a week. Roast Battle. Never say never. Unlike my favorite pro wrestler, Sting, where he says the only thing for sure about Sting is nothing's for sure. So, you might see me back in a Roast Battle cage sooner than you think.
I would love that. Real quick, too, the Verzi triplets send their love. Those guys, big fans of you, and they wanted to say hi.
I love the Balducci triplets.
They get so much on, little, not jabs, but just on your podcast. They love every time they're mentioned. They were just mentioned on Verbal Violence.
Those guys are the best. I mean, I've never seen three twins with three different hairlines. And three different bodies.
Yeah,
they're identical twins. They're clearly identical twins, but they're not.
I do, and Moses is he's always right in everything that I've seen, except he said on the Verbal Violence podcast that they didn't write their own jokes, and I know they did.
Who cares?
Yeah.
I write my own jokes. I mean, I write probably, I would say, in terms of roast battle, I write probably maybe 40% of my own jokes. And like, I know controversy with that, where people say you should write your own roast jokes. Well, maybe you guys who think that should hire my writers and get to the finals like I did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We all need help. I mean, outside of Mike Lawrence, who's the only one who didn't write, are used outside writers, and he won. So you might say, well, that's how you do it. But very few people are as talented as he is. So I have no shame, and I'm more of a roast performer than I am a writer.
Right.
But that's half the show is writing or performing.
Right, and those guys when they went against the Wave, they performed. They did a great job.
But they had the jokes. I mean, like, you have to have the jokes. Like, you can, there's been. I wasn't in the room, but I know there was a recent battle where there was like a 2-minute sketch done.
Oh yeah, I watched that.
But this particular person didn't really have the jokes to back it up, so it's like they bombed.
Yeah, so it was rough to watch.
I mean, but you could say the same thing for stand-up, though. Like, you could go on stage wearing leather pants and a shirt with holes in it, all this wacky stuff. But if you don't have the jokes, your special's going to suck. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it's like,
yeah.
Like Kiss comes out on stage with bombs and fireworks, drumsticks that are on fire at both ends, and lasers shooting out of guitars. The drum kit levitating to the roof of the arena, but at the end of the day, they're pretty talented. So they've got the songs too.
Right. Oh man.
Some people might argue that, but
yeah, you've seen them in concert. You would know more than.
But I mean, you're not successful for 40 years and not be talented, like.
Yeah.
So. But,
well, they have the business side down to a T too, so it's like.
Oh, absolutely. But like in terms of roast battle, at the end of the day, you got to have the jokes too.
Yeah.
You can have all the wacky entrances you want. It's really good.
Man, I could honestly talk to you for hours, but I can't keep you from the Grove, man.
Dude, I'm good. If you got another question, fire away, baby.
There's got to be one other one I have. And I don't want to get too personal because it's.
I'll talk about anything. The only thing I won't do is mention names because they're not here to. Like, I really don't have much bad to say about anyone, but like they're not here to dispute what I say. But I mean, I'm a pretty open book, which I think helps with depression, because if you're an open book, people, if you're honest and straightforward, you eliminate a lot of bullshit in your life. Right.
Well, this is the main thing I want to ask, because it's something that I'm really fearing for, because I'm so reliant on my parents, and I still live at home, and my parents still help me with a lot of stuff. I don't know what I would do without them. You were super close to your parents, and they passed away. You've been public about it, so I think it's okay. Like a couple months apart, right?
Yeah. My mom died in January of '98, and my dad died in March of '98. So 2 months apart.
And you were young. How were you able to?
Not really. I was 30, to be honest.
Well, that's my age right now, so this is perfect, because it's like, if that were to happen today, I don't know what I would do. How were you able to handle that?
Well, it was actually relatively easy, because you didn't have time to be shocked, because when my mom died, we knew my dad was going to die pretty soon after, so we really didn't have time to mourn my mom, because we had to go right into taking care of my dad. He was bedridden at the time.
Oh, wow.
That was tough to see, because my dad was like a superhero. He was like on the cover of Life magazine for killing a whale. He was like a scratch golfer. He was wasn't an athlete per se, but he was like a stud. He was good at anything he did.
Just a natural.
Yeah. It was just like so that was tough to see him like be bedridden for like the last 5-6 years of his life. So, but him and my mom were so in love in a bizarre way that we knew once she went, he would go pretty fast after. So So it actually kind of helped because I was very, very close to my mom. So I didn't really have time because then we had to take care of my dad because we knew he would get much worse fast.
Right. Because that's something that I don't know how I would do. I mean, I'm so reliant on them in a lot of ways, and so it's, and I got a great relationship with them, but it's like, seeing me like this is hard, and I think I'm affecting their health by being as down as I am, so I need to, I got to shape up on a lot of stuff, just grow up.
Well, we all do. No one's but you just got to rely on your brothers and sisters. I mean, I know you have one brother, but
yeah.
Is that, how many in your family?
No, that's it. So 4 of us. It's,
okay.
my brother.
Well, he's a great dude. And,
he's a huge fan of you too, man.
Sisters. So, we're all 5 pretty different personalities, but, we came together pretty fast when that stuff was happening. So we had a great support system for us to all talk to each other and whatnot. We still do. You just have to have a strong support group of friends. And, at the time, in '98, I had an amazing girlfriend who, my parents had lived in Florida the last 10 years of their life. So I would, when my mom died, I called her and said, "Hey, Ann, my mom, she's gone." Within 12 hours, Ann was in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Same thing. My dad passed. That morning, my dad passed. I called Ann, and she was in Florida that day. She dropped everything. So, of course, she's married. And I got 2 kids now, but I'll always be very, very loyal to her. I'll never forget that. So you have to have people like Ann in your life who, will just help you at the drop of a dime. And I know your brother would, and I'm sure his wife would. Everyone loves you. The Balducci triplets would. So they must hate going to the barber to get 3 different cuts.
They're going to love this.
The Balducci triplets. I don't know where they are right now, but I hope they're taking a cold reading in process. My God. But you have friends like them, those 3 guys are awesome dudes, and you just have to have a strong support group. When I'm down and whatever, I talked to, I called up Tom Goss one day, and he was great. He called up, Lindsay Jennings and I had an amazing talk one night. People wouldn't think, well, she's got tattoos, the wild hair, the lifestyle, but she's actually a really cool person. Same thing with Nicole Buchanan. We've become very good friends. She's an awesome person. So, you just gotta, keep real people in your life and have your own little support group.
Right. No, you're right.
Adam at the Comedy Store is an amazing dude. I owe him a lot. He's been amazing to me. Jeff Richards, Theo Vaughn, I have a lot of Jason Nativo, Jason Delern. I have a very strong group of friends, and it goes back to I don't have one friend in my life I don't like being around.
Right.
So anyone I talk to makes me happy. So that helps a lot. That's why when I go to the Comedy Store, it's great for the most part because I don't interact with one person I don't want to interact with, guy or girl. So that helps.
Perfect. Well, I'm gonna let you go on that. You seriously it's been over an hour now that you've been on, and it means
you release this?
I'm probably gonna release this in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, dude. You gotta release it when it's hot.
Okay, I'm gonna release it. What's the date? Thursday. I'll release it on Tuesday.
Tomorrow, dude.
Yeah, you know what? Okay, I'll put it out tomorrow. This is gonna go.
That's what I used to do when I first started my podcast. I would just stockpile interviews. I think the first 10 podcasts I did, I recorded them before I released one, and then I would release one a week. But the problem is, then, like that 7th podcast you did, it's like you're talking about stuff that happened 7 weeks ago.
So it's not topical anymore.
I mean, this depression will always be topical, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, we didn't go into anything, I don't think, that was like, you need to see this thing coming up right now, or this was a week ago for the most part. So, but you're right. Now I'm just making excuses to procrastinate.
Yeah, you gotta count backwards from 5 to 1 and just release. You should release it today. I mean, I don't know how you edit. I don't know how you.
I'm kind of like you. I don't like to do a lot of editing.
I don't edit at all. I mean, I've had, I think, 5 people on my podcast say the N-word. I didn't edit one out. 4 of them were black. With the one white guy was like, hey, you're going to edit that out, right? I'm like, no.
I don't know. Johnny Stewart the other day was in the middle of it. Well, no, he did. I think he might have used.
I think he did the GGA.
Yeah.
Version.
Yeah, he did. That was a great episode.
Oh, he's the best. But that, like, I loved doing that one because I don't know him. Like, I literally never talked to him outside of roast battle.
And you had his name wrong, so it was perfect. I laughed every time you got his name wrong on other podcasts.
I would call him like Tommy Salami or Tommy Stewart. For some reason, I just kept saying Tommy.
Yeah.
But I try to have people on that I don't know, because then that's like a great episode. It's like I'm genuinely curious about who they are, and then he was telling me that we were Sword brothers. I'm like, what the hell is that? And he's like, oh, we're hung out with a few of the same girls. I'm like, dude, I don't need to know that.
It's I think it's Eskimo Brothers is the term.
Well, in Johnny Stewart's world, it's called Sword Brothers.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But I don't need to know that. Like, I prefer not to. A girl could sleep with 100 guys. If I don't know one of the guys, I can still sleep with her. But if a girl could sleep with only 3 guys in her life, if I know one of them, I can't touch her.
Oh, that's, yeah.
It's a mental thing. Like, I don't need to think of my friend's dong down where my face is. So, but it makes no sense that a girl could sleep with 100 dudes, and I'd be fine with that. I just don't need to know.
Yeah, fair enough. But those episodes are the best. You're right. You know what? This is, all right.
You release it today, dude. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've got other episodes that you need to release before this, but, like, I can guarantee you none are going to be as good as this. So
yeah, Brian McDaniel I did his right before, and, it was pretty good.
Well, I think you should release this one first, because this will get some numbers.
Okay, let's do that.
Because that's how it works, dude. I've got I got 800, I don't know, 60 followers on SoundCloud, which is a lot. I just did Joe Urel's podcast. He's got 2 followers.
On SoundCloud?
Urel, step it up. Of course, I'm telling the guy to step it up in a wheelchair. But Joe Urel's the best. I drove 800 miles to Huntington Beach on Friday night to this podcast. And he's an awesome dude. So.
I listened to it. It was good. I listened to part of it.
Guy. I mean, you talk about depression. You talk about like when you're down, or when I'm having my recent lady friend problems, and then you go to Joe Urel's house. There's a guy who's in a wheelchair for life, and he's doing a podcast, and he's fucking going to comedy shows every night. I mean, that should make all of us go, my life ain't so bad.
Right.
There's always someone out there who's got it worse, like is stressed or whatever that I've been lately due to female problems. It's like, there's people out there in wheelchairs who can't ever walk again, and they're happy. So, or, maintaining. Maybe they're not happy, but I mean, they're happy, but like Joe Urel's like the next guy. And, my friend Greg Rock, he's like another amazing dude. He had a spinal injury, and he's in a wheelchair, and he's going to UCLA. He's got accepted into there. And he's got a girlfriend. Great dude. So, it can always be worse. It can always be better, but it can also, look at the St. Jude commercials where, you get the kid with no arms, and he's, writing more jokes than most of the comic friends I have.
Yeah, no, that's You know what? I needed to hear that because I take a lot of things for granted. Yeah.
Like some, from the Danish and O'Neill, school of Tony Robbins bullshit, which he might be to a degree, but like there is always someone who's got it worse.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Like, down as I've been at times recently, it's like, you gotta, at the end of the day, think I've got a pretty cool life. Past at the Comedy Store, featured whatever on Roast Battle. I've been on Comedy Central this year more times in 1 week than I literally was in 15 years. The Showtime show coming out.
Oh yeah, that's gonna be great.
Yeah, and it's like due to Roast Battle, they saw me at Roast Battle. That's just another.
And a cartoon too that you can't talk about yet.
I can't say the name or the network yet, just because that's what I was told. But it's going to be pretty big, I think. The people involved in it are awesome people. So that'll so it's some good things coming, and just if you're depressed out there or down, just pick up a phone, call a friend, call family member. I've never called like a suicide hotline or anything like that. I'd probably end up with the only fucking stutter they hired. But there's always someone who can at least make you feel better temporarily, and then the next day you start from scratch and take it from there. But
right,
there's always help for you.
Well, that's perfect. That's how we're gonna end. This is gonna
get this shit out today. I want to see a notice on my. I want to be tagged in a Facebook post by 7 o'clock tonight. Earl Skakel was on this podcast.
Thanks for not knowing.
Facebook and on Instagram, and we'll get some numbers for you, man.
Okay, well let's do it. Let's all right. Well,
let's do it. You do it, and then I'll fucking. As soon as I hang up this fucking phone, I want you to, however you release it, I want it done ASAP. By the time I get back to the Grove, I want to see notes on my Twitter and Facebook.
Okay. All right. I have to do it. All right.
Chop. And if you need to get the Venduzzi triplets involved, get them to do it. The Venduzzi triplets.
That's a new one. You haven't called them that yet.
Venduzzi sisters.
You don't have enough mics for them, but you gotta get them on your podcast sometime.
I do, actually. I'm set up for 6 mics on my podcast.
Oh, I'm in the studio in Simi. We have 5 mics. So you gotta always.
In the early days, I used to do UFC after UFC podcast. I'd order the pay-per-views. We'd have Danish and O'Neill. We'd have Jason Tebow. I think I've had a few podcasts where I had 3 or 4 people over to watch RuPaul's Drag Race. Podcasts are fun. They're a great way to get a fan base and a following and promote your shows. And podcasts are the new talk shows. So the good ones they're like 80s metal bands. The good ones laugh, bad ones don't.
Well, are you going to be mad if this doesn't get out today? I'm going to do my best to get it out.
What do you mean? What's the delay?
I have a friend that puts them out, and I don't know. I'm going to try to find out on my own how to release it.
No, dude. What's your friend doing? Probably nothing.
No, he's working, and so I
on it, dude, because weekends aren't good to release a podcast. So
oh yeah.
Nights are good. Because on weekends people are doing shit. So it'd be beneficial to you if you got it out by tonight or tomorrow.
Okay. It's gonna be our highest numbers, and I've had the kid from Jerry Maguire, Jonathan Lipnicki, on here, and he those were big numbers. I've had Gina Grad, who's Adam Carolla's she's the news girl on his podcast, and a bunch of other things. I've had some names. Chris DiStefano, who's a New York comic. Yeah, he's great. So I've had some names, but my problem is I haven't really been pushing them to produce or really ask them. And and even then I didn't even promote it as well. So I need to work on that.
Well, that's all it is, man. I mean, there's so many podcasts out there. If you don't promote it, there's 20 other podcasters who are promoting theirs over yours.
Right. And yeah, that's what I got to do. With that, Earl, thank you so much for being on Discussing Depression. Thanks for learning the name of it. It means a lot.
No problem, bro. And I'll see you soon.
No, thank you so much. You're the best. And I'm gonna get this out tonight.
All right, dude. Do it. Don't talk about it. Don't sing it. Bring it.
Earl, you're the best. Thank you so much.
All right. See you soon.
All right, bye.